So, hello and welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast, and I do hope that it's not quite bothering you, because you can practically see my whole fucking phone, which is but good, because I can get a little bit away from the actual screen, so that, you can actually see a little bit more of my body, which is actually, I think, pretty great, because you can see my gestures and, whatever, but you might even can see in the background, you can totally see it. I think maybe you can think about what I'm going to go through today, because I have quite the exact same schedule every single week or every single recording period. But we are going ahead with the Straight Line Persuasion from Jordan Belfort. The summary, we started one, so there's actually one episode before that one. So if you're interested in this book, or you come to the conclusion after maybe watching this episode that you would pretty much like to get more knowledge of it, I would totally suggest you to go through the other episode as well. Even though I do have to say it's quite a short one, so therefore you might get you will definitely get a better view at the whole book, or get way better insights if you're actually gonna read the book itself or just take the course. I do think this is kind of based on the course rather than the book, but I do think, whatever you will take, there will be definitely something in for you. But I do just have to see, unfortunately, where I've stopped. The art of qualification, how to ask. What are we trading right now? The straight line system. In a game of sales. Being a visionary. They buy a dress for success. We actually stopped with being a visionary, which was totally one of the things I wasn't quite sure about, because he actually points out there that you should actually dress for success. And even the author himself, as I was just reading through it once again after I've kind of finished the episode, he as well just thought this was I don't want to say that he thought or he said that it was great. But he just said, some good wisdom I enjoyed, and one of them was just dress for success. I do not know, and I do not even know if it's practically correlated to actually just dressing well, or just going for quite faking till you're making it, so just, looking fresh and looking rich, but you aren't, which is definitely the thing that a lot of not rich people are or do. I do not know. I think, it was because yesterday I was searching for a lot of information for the post that I put out today, actually, because I'm always just doing them one day before, so that I do just somehow can first of all can just manage it, because it's 10 posts and I wouldn't practically be able to post 10 posts a day during the day. So really live and, whatsoever. And it would be a lot of stress. I did it totally, I think, for a time. But then I just kind of found out that, there's something like scheduling your posts. And from that day on, I just used Buffer, and I still use it. It's just a great platform, and it's for free. I do not pay anything for all the things that I'm putting out there, which is totally great, and definitely something that I enjoy. But maybe I should even... Is this better, by the way? I think it's even a little bit better. I don't know. Is it? Yeah, it is. Definitely. Even though it's so fucking bright, you can see me a little bit better. So I don't know. For the dress for success thing, I don't quite know. And I don't know if he actually means what I just don't like to hear practically. But I think we'll just go ahead, and maybe we'll even just finish today, even though I'm quite thinking about just doing it a little bit more on ease, just enjoying it a little bit more, sitting there or sitting here, because it's only 30 minutes of doing this just for this episode, and 30 episodes of me getting value and providing value for other people, theoretically. So 5, the inner game of sales. In this module, Belfort delves? What's delves? I would say dives into the personal mindsets and beliefs that makes a successful salesperson or successful person, period. He talks, for example, about the important or importance of mastering your emotional states, facing your fears, and setting lofty goals. And therefore also read The Magic of Thinking Big, which is actually one of the books, or which is one of the books that I quite have seen, somehow often, I would say. You just somehow stumble across a few books and you can totally then just say, okay, there are some books I just stumbled across more often than, across others. And this was one of the just, in the middle, I would say, I just seen it once or twice or whatever, but books like How to Win Friends and Influence People are definitely on every single list, which is great because I definitely enjoyed it. And if you haven't read it, please read it. It's great. I've just loved it so much. I don't know. I would say it was the top book that I've read in my life. Besides, as always, George Orwell 1984 and what was the other one? I always name 3 usually. Fuck. I don't know. Nevertheless. Never mind. We go ahead with the straight line system. So the actual system himself, and where he quite explains what the system is quite all about. So here Jordan Belfort goes back into the actual selling process. So definitely, if you have watched the other episode as well, or listened to the other episode as well, the author in the beginning, I do think, mentioned that he also speaks about mindset and, whatsoever, even though, and I do think I'm not just kind of messing it up because I'm going through so many things at a time, actually the thing that I should actually be doing tomorrow, which I'm not doing actually because I've just done a few. Wow. That's great. Because I actually started something yesterday that would be for yesterday, yeah. But on Monday, it was on Monday. On Monday I did an episode for Friday as well. And today there will be another episode for Friday because I might not be at home on Friday, and therefore I just have to produce the episodes and the posts some kinda beforehand. But it should work anyways. So yeah. But the author actually said that all this mental and mindset stuff wasn't that great, or at least wasn't that surprising, and therefore he just still loved the whole selling thing, because this is what Jordan Belfort quite stands for, and this is what everybody knows that he is able to do, or that he can, just very, very, very good. But yeah, so the straight line system. Here Jordan Belfort goes back into the actual selling process. He explains the 3 tenets of closing, such as the elements that need to line up in a moment of time when your prospect is ready to buy. The first one is they love your product. The second one is they trust, so they love your product, which is, I think, definitely important, because you cannot sell something that they are not interested in. It wouldn't work, I would say. Maybe it will work, if it's just something, or if you're just selling it so good, no. I do think to actually sell it to the people, they actually have to like the product or love it even. And I do think if they love it, the chances are quite, 100%, or the possibility is practically 100% that he or she is actually buying it. Because, if it is really or truly a product, or it seems to be really or truly a product that they actually need, or they actually just want to have, or, I think need is actually something that's a little strong, so I go for need. If it is actually something they need, I think they will totally buy it. If it is also a product which is solving their problem. They trust and connect with you, something that's very important. And so sorry for not showing you. This is the other one. So the second one, they trust and connect with you. I do think trust is something extremely important as well, and this was actually something, and I will just talk about this story as well. I've been just talking and storytelling it a few times before, but I think it's practically nice. So, but to make it a little shorter, I had an interview for my internship this year, and I went up to this guy and just, took my shit with me. So my portfolio and whatsoever, everything went well. Just, to spoil it a little bit, I did get, the internship. I hope so, because I actually wrote him an email, but he didn't wrote anything back. So maybe I'll just have to call them. And they actually, I think, like to when they get called, because, every single person is quite, writing the emails and whatsoever, which is definitely nothing that's quite, I don't know, you can definitely just oversee some of these emails because you're getting so much of them every single day. But yeah, so he was telling me just a quick little story, a quick little example why trust is so extremely important in his job. So he's also a graphic designer, or at least he has a graphic design company or agency. He was like, if there's a customer and the customer has the option between two agencies, and two agencies have the same pricing, the same qualities, quite the same people, even though it wouldn't be working, the same just qualities, skills, people, the same price, also very important. So quite everything is the same. The only thing is that the company already worked with one of these two agencies already, which is something that creates just trust. This is just, trust creation or trust building. And if this is the case, they will totally just work with the other one. So that one they just, worked beforehand already. And it makes sense because they trust in that certain agency, especially if they've done a great job. If not, I do think it's somehow just, I don't know, maybe they will just go for giving them another chance, or they are like, let's fuck them because they did a pretty crappy job at the first time and let's give it to the other agency. But I don't know. So I think just at the end, trust is something very important, and also feeling connected because, we all are quite emotional, I would say, even subconsciously. Consciously, I don't think so, not all the people, but, just being able to connect with the person or feeling like you're connecting to a person and you're just liking the conversation, you like the person, and, you like quite everything that's about the conversation, about meeting this certain person, even though it's a salesperson or sales guy or girl. I do think it's pretty important because, I don't know, I do think we make decisions out of emotions, or just emotions play a very big role in making decisions. I would say if we're quite happy with, our situation or with what it is right now, our decisions also change. You can definitely see it if you're just having a very, very, very great day, then you will totally make different decisions than if your day is so crap, you're feeling so bad about whatever, doesn't just matter right now, but I think you know what I mean. If you just have a very crappy day, your decisions are definitely different and or definitely maybe worse. It's always kind of, even though I do have to say, people always tell you, okay, never make decisions when you're feeling not good, or never make decisions when not everything is well, because you will definitely make the wrong decisions. The thing is, it's the same it's the same thing on the completely opposite. If you're so extremely happy, you might just pay more, you might just buy more, you might just, do quite everything a little bit of more, and this is also some kind of bad. Just because you're having a great day on one singular day, just buying way more or just paying way more might not be the best idea, I would say. And the third one is trust your company. I don't know. I do think it's very important that they are connected with you and they trust in you, or they trust you, because, they are just, or you are just this person that's talking to them, and I don't know, maybe it could be important for people that are more just, I would say smart even, so people that are just thinking a little bit more and thinking about you and your background maybe, and when they just see, okay, you are from, I don't know, from this certain company and they don't like it, then it will get a problem, or then there will be a problem, because it's a conflict. It's a conflict between, okay, you being quite nice maybe, and the company being very crappy and you actually hate it. And therefore actually having trust in the company as well, I think is just something that makes it way easier in general, or maybe just in certain situations. How to ask. The more personal the questions are, the more you should make them sound off-handed and informal. For example, out of curiosity, what are you trading right now? If he talks a lot, don't interrupt, but don't get off tangent with chit-chat and unrelated topic. Emphasize, make a comment, and then go back to the straight line. You are a busy professional, respect his time and your time. I would say so. Even though I do just have to point out that just having a quick little conversation or having a conversation about these topics this certain person is passionate about, I think definitely just increases the chances or possibilities of you actually making the sale, because people like to talk and people very much like to talk about things they just like. And this is just fact. And I do think you're just seeing it, if you're just, keeping attention to it, you will definitely see it as well. So if you just, listen to people who are having a conversation, or if you're just kind of auditing the people you are talking to, if you're just talking to someone and you're just pretty much only talking about them and their life and whatsoever, and then they afterwards say, it was a pretty nice conversation, I would really like to just, do that again, you will definitely know, okay, it's because you only spoke about them and, not about you. But it's totally normal. The seventh chapter is the art of qualifying. Straight line persuasion goes back here into my favorite part, going through the straight line scripts with life coaching, and here are a few examples. How much money do you have in the stock market? Just a ballpark? Whenever you ask someone about money, always go into a disarming tone. Imagine you were putting your hands up in front of you with open palms as if you say, no pressure, just a ballpark. This part was possibly the most awesome of them all for me. Huge learning for me. So are you looking for that right now, or do you have to raise the money? So whenever you're talking about someone personally, or whenever you ask someone about money, always and really always go into a disarming tone. So I think just being more nicer and just not being too aggressive and too pushy and creating too much pressure for them. Because I do think this is actually one of the topics that a lot of people are quite maybe unsure about, or they quite don't like to talk about it, at least in my society or in my country, in Austria, it's quite normal that people do not like to talk about their salary or about their wage or quite about their income. And I do quite understand it, even though I find it somehow silly, because, it's just a number and you can definitely tell people how much you're making. And I don't know, I think it totally comes up to, okay, people actually just value other people's opinions so much or so high that they actually somehow just, do not even want to tell them about some numbers or figures. But you can definitely see a lot of rich people who are talking about figures. So actually naming the exact same or the exact number you're actually making. I don't know if this is necessary, but I do hope you get what I actually mean. So just not being pushy, just being a little bit more nice, a little bit more like, I understand you, I'm empathetic with you, and I do just want to, get the best for you. I do not want to disarm you, I do not want to just hurt you, and I do not want to just kind of blame you for being so poor and whatsoever. I quite understand this. So are you looking for that right now, or do you have to raise the money? Another gem in par with the above one. The volunteer got the tonality completely wrong, and at first blush I totally miss it. Then Jordan Belfort delivers the same line and explains the difference. Since this is a highly probing question, you have to deliver it matter-of-factly, with an inflection that says, we know how it is and it's no big deal. Just tell me, maybe I can help you. Just for sustainability purposes, how will you... So I'm going to try to make it somehow... What did they say? So just being like, we know how it is, no big deal, and just tell me, because maybe I can help you. So are you looking for it right now, or do you have to raise the money? Maybe this is something like this, but maybe it's like a little bit too like questioning. Maybe it's more like, are you looking for that right now, or do you have to raise the money? It's like a little bit more, for me at least, it sounds or feels like a little bit more like, I'm interested in it and I understand you and I want to know what you're talking about. Or are you looking for it right now? Do you have to raise the money? No, it is a little bit too arrogant, I think. I do think I will just get the tone of voice. somehow, because all the phrase, we know how it is, no big deal, just tell me, maybe I can help you. It's just like, no matter what it is, I can definitely help you, or I maybe can help you, and just tell me, there's nothing about this, you can definitely trust me and tell it to me. Just for sustainability purposes, how would you say your current financial situation is right now? With this one, you communicate report and that your questions are just for sustainability purpose. Otherwise, you two could have a friendly chat with a beer. The 8th one, the presentation. In this section, Jordan Belfort goes into the actual presentation of your offer. He explains the perfect tonalities to communicate scarcity, certainty, and disarming. The parts I like the most: how to box people in, use with integrity, create urgency in the last part of the script, use a soft close such as sounds fair enough, and how to emotionally drive the prospect towards a state of certainty, handling rejections with looping. Because this is actually something that's quite not getting explained, I do think maybe we'll just come up in the parts down below, but I'm gonna just go through this one again because I think this is very important. So he's trying to communicate scarcity, certainty, and disarming. And the parts I like the most, or just how he pretty much creates it, I would even say. So how to box people and how to box people in, use with integrity, which is in brackets, create urgency in the last part of the script, the uses of close such as sounds fair enough, which is totally something you can also see in the film. So The Wolf of Wall Street, which is fairly nice, I would say. It's quite interesting that you can see it there, and that they actually adopted some of his techniques or even trainings. So maybe to make the movie more authentical, could also be the case, or could actually be the case. How to emotionally drive the prospect towards a state of certainty, and handling rejections with looping. Yeah. And the 9th one, the power of language. Straight Line Persuasion dwells here into the nitty-gritty of language and word choices. Here are some gems. Virtually gives you free rein. Is it rein? It's REIN, to make as many bold claims as you want without committing. This was just really fucked up. Sorry. Without committing 100% or lying. So virtually, this is making you rich, and virtually, you're also going to be healthy by using this product. A huge upside with little downside. People are naturally inclined to look for worst-case scenarios. The sentence addresses their fears while also allowing them to dream at the same time. So there is a huge upside with buying the product and a pretty little downside. Incredibly easy to get started. People are lazy and they don't want to do the legwork after agreeing, which is totally true, and this is why we have platforms such as, Instagram and, Google is so easy and everything is so user-friendly because we are all so fucking lazy. We all are, and this is, I think, nothing you can pretty much deny, we all so lazy, or at least we somehow got into it. I do not really want to say that everybody's lazy in terms of actually working, but I'm just thinking about usability, and everything should be as easy and as kind of less work than possible, or everything in general. Everything, especially nowadays, has to just be fast. And I don't know, maybe we're completely stressed out. This could be the pretty downside of it, or yeah, this could be the downside of it. Yeah, funny fucking joke. So people are lazy, they don't want to do the legwork after agreeing. Remove the fear of big time commitment, and if they're afraid of consequences, say it's incredibly easy to modify or change the terms. It's a long-term relationship, it assumes you're closing soon, reassure them, and build rapport. Please don't misconstrue my enthusiasm for pressure. in case you will feel you have been coming off too strong, which, in fact is actually something that I'm quite thinking quite much about. And especially if I'm giving some presentations, it's quite feel like I'm too enthusiastic and maybe too much in my selling mode, which was actually one of the things that one of my teachers told me, that I was, too much selling cars to them by actually giving my design presentation. And I quite understood it. I was pretty pushy, I would say, and I think it didn't create much pressure, but I was quite pushy and was like, this is the best product, and you will never ever find something that's better than mine, and whatsoever, which is, totally in general something that's quite, like, I don't know, people definitely feel certain things like this, and, I think people in general feel a lot, but subconsciously, and I think we just have a pretty great gut feeling, even though a lot of people just always just insist of their brain kind of decisions, even though I would say just sometimes your belly and your gut is pretty much accurate, or even more accurate than your brain, because I don't know, just we all try to be rational, and I think by doing this we actually just somehow doing it way too complicated, maybe. I don't know. Save the best for last. Get progressively more convincing as you get closer to the close. So if you only do half as well as my clients, all I ask is that you give me one shot, it's one shot. Believe me, you won't be sorry. And besides that, because I'm just reading, all I ask you is that you give me one shot. This was actually something that Jordan Belfort was talking about or used in a just live sailing session or something. You can find it on YouTube if you just type in Jordan Belfort live selling or something like this. So live not in terms of his life, but in terms of actually just real time. I think you know what I mean actually. And it's a pretty great video, even though it's quite long. I think it's 30 minutes long. It isn't too interesting, and I often felt like, is it the right thing to use? Is it the right thing to say? And it was even the case with, all I ask is that you give me one shot. I do not know. Maybe I'm just not in the space to actually, or not too much in the space to actually kind of judge this, or kind of give feedback to what he's using, because he is definitely using it in the right way, and you can definitely tell by just what he has achieved, and all these other things. And he was, and he still is. Let's see what his net worth at the time is. So Jordan Belfort's net worth in 2019 is quite 100 million, which is quite something. It's quite not that much, because you can definitely say, okay, Tony Robbins, for example, has at the moment a net worth of, I'll tell you, 500 million. So it's quite 5 times more than Jordan Belfort has. And I just wanted to say, okay, and Tony doesn't even have his own film, but he has. There's actually a documentary about him, and I think his life, and all these things, which is, I think, definitely interesting. Even though I do quite be honest and have to say, the trailer itself wasn't that, I don't know, maybe engaging, or wasn't that quite just giving me what I was searching for. I was rather maybe searching for a biography or something like this, but the actual film is more about a conference he did, or a seminar he did, and I think it was a speech he did once, and it definitely was interesting. So please do not get me wrong, he's an incredibly inspiring person, but yeah, even especially, you can often see that all these just sportsmen and all these kind of, for example, soccer players especially, they do have a lot of money, but I've actually never ever searched up I've never actually searched up or looked up actually one of there. Sorry for actually being so fucking. Let's see. Well, the thing is, okay, I've just searched up the net worth of Cristiano Ronaldo, which is, I think, at the time even the best player. No, he is not. I think he actually isn't at the time, but I think he's the third or second best player in the world right now, and he's playing for Juventus. If you're in the space, and I think a lot aren't, because I think most of my viewers actually for the podcast and also for the YouTube videos are definitely from the States. So football or soccer, actually, I do not like it if people just kind of say football, but or just mean soccer. I don't know. Football is definitely something that's an American sport, and I do not really want to kind of harm this word with actually giving it to another sport, which definitely has quite nothing to do with the other one. But Cristiano Ronaldo has a net worth of 450 million. The problem there is that the big problem is that that he actually, I think, earns quite a fucking load of money. I think even he's making per game, maybe it would be too much to say, okay, but actually he was bought for 1 million. Maybe, he was bought for 100 million. 100 million, and his wage is definitely higher than a few millions. So I don't know. Maybe, and he has his own businesses. He has hotels, and he has the shoes, and his clothing and his underwear, and all these things are pretty expensive because he is a personal brand. And this already shows me, okay, personal brands and having a personal brand is something that's incredibly important nowadays, or incredibly valuable for someone. And this is always also something that I'm trying to build for me, because brand is something amazing. And I can give you an example. Maybe you can just. Should I just go into the intro screen? Is it better for you? Is it more nice for you? Maybe I'll change it up a little bit. So now I'm here. We have recently just watched a film in class or in school about Helvetica, the font, or I think actually Helvetica, because it's actually a Swiss font and they talk German and whatsoever. Never mind. But another designer was interviewed, or another font designer, Eric Spiekermann, which is a German, typography artist, a pretty famous one as well, said that most of the people that are using just a font or buying a font or whatsoever of him just probably be like, this is a font from Spiekermann, and therefore I'm just going to use it. And he just directly said it into the fucking camera, and I found it so amazing because it's just true. People just do some things or just buy some things only because of the brand, or only because of the people that are associated with it, especially with the personal brands, and especially if it's someone that's famous or, did good work and whatsoever, because it's correlated to it, If you did, good work, it's quite a personal, personal brand. I think the name itself just says quite anything or everything. And it's just amazing that, he just said, okay, people will definitely buy it and use it because it's an Eric Spiekermann font. Only because it's him and he designed it and he is quite famous in this world. And I do think it's the same thing with, underwear from Cristiano Ronaldo, or every fucking deal Lionel Messi has. Or, I don't know, I'm not that good in the space of, foreign sports. So football, I've watched a little of it. I sometimes watch the Super Bowl if it's not, too much in the night actually, even though it's just at 4 o'clock in my time zone actually, which isn't that nice. It's definitely then not something that I quite say, okay, I'm gonna just be, up to that kind of how should I say, kind of times that I actually can watch it, because I'm not the greatest fan, even though I do have played flag football myself, which was amazing. It made so much fun, and it was even a tournament that I was participating in, which it was a tournament for schools and whatsoever, and it was fun. I like the sport. I do like the sport, and I do also like to watch the normal football. So, like, yeah. But yeah, I do think this is actually it with the episode, because we're actually already 45 minutes in. Nowadays, I'm quite always just, getting a little bit into just having a little, a little longer episodes, because I quite like it to just, be there for a longer time, just talking a little bit more, because I somehow feel like limiting myself to 30 minutes as such, I don't know, is great, because it's working for me, and it's great for me actually to upload all the things, because the size of the data isn't too much and isn't too low, so it's quite good. But yeah, I do hope you get the best health, wealth, and happiness, and especially success. And I just wish you just kind of remembering, thinking about your legacy, how you're gonna be remembered, and actually giving back to the people. If they've given you something, doesn't matter or not, doesn't quite matter, because just give back to the people. It feels amazing, and it will make you happy as well. It just makes me happy, pretty fucking happy, even though I'm not doing such a good job at the moment, to be honest. But that's another story. And yeah, I'll see you the next time.